Morning everyone. It's a grey, miserable morning this morning, but I'm going to be talking to you today about the power of starting, being okay with failure, and reframing things that you haven't done before. So this is something I've been thinking about for the last few months, and I've really had a change of mindset and a change of perception around things that I haven't done before. So in the past, I still am very much a perfectionist in that I want the first time I do something to be perfect. I don't want to be seen to be a failure in anything that I do, which immediately is a cause for failure, ironically, because there is no way that you can do things for the first time and achieve them absolutely perfectly. So what I've had the reframing mindset and the change in the way that I think about things. And so what I've had to do is come to the realization that the first time I do something isn't going to be perfect, and that's absolutely okay. I've made a video on my channel before about the first time that I got in the gym, and I'll put that up in the top right hand corner for you to go and watch after this one. But essentially, the first time that I went to the gym, I was incredibly unconfident and incredibly self-conscious about attending, about what I was going to do, about what people might think. And I feel like that's something that a lot of people feel the first time they get in a gym. But it's actually something that's mirrored across the vast majority of our lives. We look at when we start a new job, or we're out with people for the first time in a new social circle, and we get, or I certainly do, we get the very same feelings of not knowing what to expect, not knowing if you're going to do well in the new job, whether the people that you're going to be around are going to get on with you, are going to like you, are going to find you funny, and everything like that. And so I've become okay with the fact that the first time I do something, it's not going to be perfect, and it's an ongoing thing. It's not something I've completely worked out. So it will keep going for the rest of my life, I would imagine. It's going to be something I'm going to have to deal with every single day. But alongside that, I've kind of reframed things that I haven't ever done before. So as part of the first time you do something, it's not going to be perfect, you also have to be okay with doing it for the first time. So in the past, I would be asked to do something or want to do something and would immediately go to, well, I don't know how to do that. But that's fine. Like, you've not done it before, you're not going to know how to do it. But the important thing is to get started. So Ali Abdaal, who's quite a big YouTuber in the UK, he's often said that your first 100 videos on YouTube are going to be rubbish. And that's fine, because everyone's first 100 videos are rubbish. But the longer it takes you to do those 100 videos, the longer your videos are going to be rubbish for. So you just have to put in the reps, and you just have to get started. Alex Hormozy has a similar kind of thing, where he says that confidence comes from competence. So the ability to do something well brings about self-confidence. But in order to get competence, you have to have done the reps. You're not going to become competent the first time you do anything. There's a very kind of common thought around becoming competent at something, becoming professional at something, and that's doing 10,000 hours of practice of it. So, you put in enough time and enough effort into something, you're going to improve at it despite just in the process of doing the thing, because you do the thing once, you don't know how anything works. So for example, making these videos, the first time that I did one, I didn't know what camera to use, what microphone to use, how to edit, anything like that. You do a couple, you learn how to edit, you learn what does and doesn't work for the camera that you're using, for the microphone that you're using, how to synchronize the microphone to the camera, and things like that. So as much as we want to be really good at things, you're not going to be good at them until you've done them multiple times and learned from the things that you've done before. So you do the thing, and then you review how that went, and then you iterate on that based on what you discover through the review process. And I think that's really key. So many people, including myself, we put restrictions on what we can do based on what we know now. And if you look back over the last 5 or 10 years of your life, what are you doing now that you weren't doing 5 or 10 years ago? As an example, I'm driving right now. 10 years ago, I'd never driven a car before. But I went to lessons, I sat and drove around the city, and eventually you build on this skill set, and now I drive every single day and I don't really give it a second thought. And when it's something like driving or something you learn in school, that seems perfectly acceptable. But when you're starting a new hobby or wanting to progress your career and pick up new skills in your career, it almost feels like we have a completely different mindset of how that should work, and we feel like we should be able to do it straight away, as if we're somehow born with the skills to do these things, and all it's a case of is doing it for the first time to unlock those skills. That's not true at all. You build skills over time by doing different things. And it might be that a skill that you learn from doing one thing does translate to help you with something else in your life. But it's not until you do it that you realise that you can sit and study and read books as much as you like, but until you put those things into practice and actually try it for yourselves, you don't realise the shortcomings of different methods. Take the gym as an example. You can read lots of books and watch lots of videos about which exercises are best for chest growth or shoulders or back or anything like that. But unless you do them, it might be that you have a restriction in your body, in the way that your joints move or anything like that, that mean that you can't perform an exercise exactly as prescribed in a video or in a book. And so you then have to adapt and do a slightly different exercise for a little while, and maybe you go and see a physio or something like that in order to remove that restriction. But you would never know that from reading the book, and you can very easily read a book, watch a video, prescribe exercises to other people as I did this and it was really good for building my chest. But actually it might not work for that other person for various different reasons. And it's exactly the same with everything else. You can use other people's experiences to try and bypass failures. So use their failures, their mistakes as things that you don't do to try and avoid those in your own life. But ultimately, you have to experience failure and mistakes yourself. I mean, as a child, that is something that adults and particularly parents try to, or in my opinion, should try to push, is allowing your child to explore and learn what does and doesn't work. That's part of what play is. You play with other children and with adults in your life, and children are constantly pushing boundaries. They're constantly seeking out what is and isn't okay, what I can and can't do, both from a behaviour perspective, but also from a ability perspective. And then as adults, we seem to lose that in the expectation that either our skill set is what it is and will stay the same, or that we're beyond growth anymore. And that's quite sad, really. So in summary, if you have something that you want to do, don't tell yourself you can't do it. The way that we speak to ourselves often has an effect on the behaviours that we then put out into the world. So don't tell yourself that you can't do something. Tell yourself that you haven't done that thing yet. And in that process, be okay with the fact that the first few times you do it, it's probably not going to go exactly as you planned, but that's fine. Because by it not going how you planned, you can iterate on that thing, you can learn from that thing, and then in the future you can get better. And that's what life is, getting better each day to get to where you want to be. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time.